Welcome to the Rudick Report. Today is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. There's been a lot of action lately regarding balloons breaching our airspace, traveling across our country, possibly gathering intelligence. One of those balloons has been identified to be of Chinese origin. You might think, big deal, it's a balloon. What could a balloon possibly do to our country? Both Russia and China can destroy the U.S. power grid and degrade military capabilities with a non-kinetic first strike, meaning they can deal a serious blow to us without weapons like bombs or rockets, ballistic missiles, etc. They can use the balloon to detonate an electromagnetic pulse or an EMP. An electromagnetic pulse or EMP is the electromagnetic radiation from a nuclear explosion, but can also be caused by non-nuclear weapons, though their effects are usually more geographically limited, and can even be caused by a coronal mass ejection or CME from the sun. The resulting electric and magnetic fields may combine with electrical or electronic systems to produce damaging current and voltage surges. It can cause power spikes ranging from several hundred volts per meter up to more than 1 million volts per meter. Furthermore, it can cause total component failure or degradation. A coronal mass ejection or CME is an explosive outburst of solar wind plasma from the sun. The blast of a CME typically carries roughly 1 billion tons of material at speeds on the order of hundreds of kilometers per second. A CME contains radiation and powerful magnetic fields. These blasts originate in magnetically disturbed regions of the corona, the sun's upper atmosphere, and can have effects like a man-made EMP. If a nuclear weapon is detonated 25 miles above North America, it would destroy most U.S. electronics, high voltage transformers, vehicles including tactical ones, and other electrical machinery. A CME, depending on the severity, would produce a similar effect. What is frightening is the fact that 99% of all military bases rely on the civilian electrical grid. Recent overflights of balloons from China have been at altitudes high enough to cause a nuclear EMP. The late Dr. Peter Vincent Pry was the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security. He noted that U.S. plans to harden the electrical infrastructure against a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse, non-nuclear electromagnetic pulse weapon, or a CME, are virtually non-existent. In 2008, the report of the Commission to Assess the Threat to the United States from Electromagnetic Pulse Attack, the EMP Commission, reported on the effects of an EMP. The report concluded that 1 year after a large-scale EMP or CME, 9 of every 10 Americans would be dead, from a variety of causes stemming from the attack. Sadly, present-day hardening efforts remain non-existent. In August of 2021, Pry's task force released Blackout Warfare, attacking the U.S. electrical power grid, a revolution in military affairs, and yet still no action to harden the grid has taken place. Chinese and Russian military doctrines outline the use of high-altitude EMP weapons. Both countries possess the capability to produce not only these types of attacks, but also non-nuclear EMP attacks in conjunction with cyber attacks. As Blackout Warfare notes, Washington does not understand the threat from an EMP CME, focusing almost entirely on cybersecurity, largely ignoring the other major threats against electrical grids, sabotaging, and EMP. The Congressional EMP Commission states, combined armed cyber warfare, as described in the military doctrines of Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, may use combinations of cyber, sabotage, and ultimately nuclear EMP attacks to impair the United States quickly and decisively by blacking out large portions of its electrical grid and other critical infrastructure. Although an executive order coordinating national resilience to electromagnetic pulses exists and is intended to make national EMP preparedness a priority, very little progress has been made. So what would a long-term blackout look like? If the grid were to be attacked tomorrow, how would leadership communicate with each other, or with armed forces? How would a mechanic fix a vehicle without step-by-step instructions on a computer or computer-aided diagnostic tools? A coordinated physical attack on multiple targets and facilities from a state or non-state actor must be considered an imminent threat. An attack on an unprotected civilian grid could result in a long-term blackout event. Since 99% of the military depends on the civilian electrical grid and food and water infrastructure, the military could be severely crippled. The fact is that it is not a matter of if it will occur, the real question is when. This threat will materialize sooner or later, and leadership needs to take it seriously and begin to act now. The military should introduce existing technologies for electromagnetic hardening of infrastructure and systems for military equipment, bases, and vehicles as quickly as possible. Jonathan Hollerman, Deputy Executive Director for the EMP Task Force on National and Homeland Security, notes 3 specific psychological factors regarding total grid failure: human desperation, starvation, and living without the rule of law. Military bases do not have the supplies of food and water purification to sustain their forces and their families for more than a short time. Senator Ron Johnson, chairman of the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, posed questions to witnesses testifying on Capitol Hill before his committee. He asked R. James Woosley, chairman of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, what would happen to society if the electrical grid were to be down for an extended period, such as a year or two, following an EMP event? Woolsey responded, "It's briefly dealt with in the Commission report of 2008. There are essentially 2 estimates on how many people would die from hunger, from starvation, from lack of water, and from social disruption. One estimate is that within 1 year, 2/3 of the United States population would die. The other estimate is that within a year or so, 90% of the U.S. population would die. We're talking about total devastation. We're not talking about just a regular catastrophe. As the old notion has it, hope for the best but prepare for the worst, and let God do the rest. But there are things you can do to prepare for this eventuality. There is a company called EMP Shield who makes military-grade EMP mitigation devices that are affordable. EMP Shield Incorporated has developed the world's first electromagnetic pulse defense technology that can defend your house, your business, an entire electrical grid, and more from a high-altitude EMP threat. Their products also provide some of the world's most advanced power surge, lightning, and CME protection, defending electronics in less than 1/1,000,000th of a second. In fact, not only are they the only product on the market that can protect your valuable electronics from an EMP strike, but their products can withstand over 40 times EMP strikes with 0 degradation and have a lifetime warranty. The EMP Shield has been tested at the Keystone Compliance Laboratory, which is a federally approved and DoD testing facility. Their testing of the EMP Shield has shown that EMP Shield far surpasses all military EMP protection device standards. In the description of this video, I have added my affiliate link to the EMP Shield. If you are of the preparedness mindset and want to prepare for this eventuality, then you could use my link to save $50 on the EMP Shield for your car, for your home, etc. I have installed the EMP Shield in my car, and it literally took me 15 minutes, if that. Now I have the assurance that if these bad actors set off an EMP over the states, or if the sun launches a CME, at least my automobile will be able to continue to drive to get me or my family home safely. Being mobile will be critical, while most cars, trucks, and motorcycles will be completely destroyed electronically. It gives me peace of mind. Well, thanks for watching. Until next time, this is the Rudick Report.